Esto es Imagen Empresarial y aquí le conté que el 19 de agosto pasado le enviaron una carta a distintas organizaciones del sector privado en Estados Unidos al secretario de Estado Anthony Blinken, en donde expresaban sus preocupaciones por las reformas que están discutiendo en México, particularmente la reforma al Poder Judicial. Entre los firmantes pues se encuentran muchas organizaciones, pero una de las más importantes es la Asociación Nacional de Manufactureros de Estados Unidos. Y esta mañana está con nosotros, se lo agradezco mucho, Andrea Dworkin. Ella es la vicepresidenta de Política Internacional de la National Association of Manufacturers. Andrea, thank you very much for taking this call.
Rodrigo, thank you so much for the opportunity to join your show this morning.
We're very happy that you are here this morning. So, first of all, how do you explain what is the importance of the National Association of Manufacturing, NAM?
Yes, by way of some background, the National Association of Manufacturers, or the NAM, represents 14,000 companies, and they range from small businesses to global leaders, really every household names in every sector, encompassing heavy machinery, automotive, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, telecommunications, oil and gas, renewables, food production, and so much more. And our manufacturers operate in every state in the United States. We employ 13 million people across the United States. But for the purposes of this conversation, I want to emphasize that many of our members have long-standing and very deep relationships with Mexico, whether it's through their own direct investments in production or through relationships with suppliers and producers in Mexico. And most of the time, it's both of those scenarios. So we have a big stake in Mexico's success.
Great, thank you. Le pregunto a Andrea pues que nos describa un poco qué comprende la Asociación Nacional de Manufactureros de Estados Unidos, y los números son enormes, 40,000 miembros que son pequeñas, medianas y grandes empresas, prácticamente en todos los sectores, que tienen maquinaria, que están en el sector químico, en petróleo, en electrónicos, semiconductores, emplean a 13 millones de personas, y me dice, para efectos de esta conversación, importante destacar que muchos de ellos tienen lazos profundos con México. Now, in the letter that the NAM signed a couple of days ago, there was some concerns regarding the judicial reform of Mexico. What are those concerns, and what is the scope of the concerns that you have?
Yeah, there are several. Look, we understand that there's an important debate going on in Mexico right now. And what we're looking at is a few things. We place great importance, first of all, on independent regulatory authorities, particularly in the backbone sectors of the Mexico economy. That would be energy and telecommunications. We're also concerned about the potential for preferential treatment for state-owned enterprises that wouldn't have to operate on commercial terms. We're concerned about a potential weakening of investor protections. I mentioned how deeply invested U.S. companies are in Mexico. And we're also concerned about the potential for outright prohibitions on certain types of foreign investments, such as fracking or open pit mining.
Claro. Le pregunto cuáles son las principales áreas de preocupación que tienen en la NAM, y me dice que, bueno, pues sabe que hay un debate importante aquí en nuestro país, pero les preocupan varias cosas. Por ejemplo, la independencia de los órganos regulatorios, particularmente dos, los que tienen que ver con energía y telecomunicaciones. También, pues lo que tiene que ver con las empresas estatales en términos de que no compitan con criterios de mercado. Por supuesto, también algunas prohibiciones específicas como la explotación a través del fracking y también la minería a cielo abierto, que son algunos de los temas. Now, yesterday the incoming Economy Secretary, Marcelo Ebrard, said that the foreign investors and the foreign actors don't understand the judicial reform. He said that most of them they have not read the reform. What will be your reaction? What is the visibility you have and the association in terms of this process in Mexico?
You know, we know this is a very complex set of proposed amendments, and they're multifaceted. And I know that there are many objectives to these changes that are being proposed. But from a commercial perspective, what we're really looking at is that U.S. investors are entitled under the USMCA, the TMEC agreement, to due process and to a minimum level of treatment. And what we're really looking for is to ensure that investors retain confidence in Mexico's legal framework, which I know is an objective that we all share. So I wouldn't want to get into the details about the process through which these are being considered, and I know it's complex, but overall, we're looking at the stability of the system and confidence in the system. You know, there has been a huge uptick in foreign investment in Mexico, particularly by U.S. investors. The stock of U.S. investment in Mexico is reaching new heights. It went up to 144 billion in 2023. And the upgrading, I think, of the USMCA, the TMEC, really strengthened investor confidence. And it is the bedrock of our relationship. And there are certain embedded rights in that agreement that we want to make sure are protected through any kind of reform. I mentioned national treatment, minimum standard of treatment. There's a commitment Mexico has undertaken to promote competition, particularly, for example, in telecommunications. And it has undertaken commitments on the governance of SOEs. So there are many provisions within the USMCA that are very relevant to the discussion right now.
Le planteo a Andrea que ayer el secretario, bueno, más bien el que será el secretario de Economía, Marcelo Ebrard, dijo que muchos inversionistas, lo decía en el resumen, pues no tienen un conocimiento tan profundo y no han leído la reforma, y le pregunto a ella cuál es su reacción y me dice, bueno, pues sabe que es un proceso complicado, complejo, pero pues lo que buscan ellos es asegurar que se mantiene la confianza legal en el marco regulatorio legal, sobre todo que se respeta el TMEC, el Tratado México-Estados Unidos y Canadá. Menciona obviamente cómo ha habido un ascenso en la inversión extranjera directa, principalmente de Estados Unidos, nada más en 2023 $144,000 millones, y que el TMEC pues tiene bases de derecho que se tienen que proteger, por supuesto, ciertos tratamientos, garantizar la competencia, y viene, bueno, pues esta revisión, y eso es parte de lo que están buscando que se mantenga, digamos, en ello. Andrea, I need to make a commercial break, but if you keep on the line so we can talk a little bit more about the consequences that you foresee in terms of this discussion in Mexico and in the scenario that this reform, so far it seems that is going to be approved, and what could be the reactions from the point of view of the National Association of Manufacturers. But I need to go to the commercial break and we come back. Thank you. Esta mañana está con nosotros Andrea Dworkin, la vicepresidenta de Política Internacional de la National Association of Manufacturers. Entonces, esto es Imagen Empresarial. Esta mañana está con nosotros en entrevista Andrea Dworkin, y es la vicepresidenta de Política Internacional de la National Association of Manufacturers, que pues ya nos decía ella, es realmente grande en términos pues de su composición. Representa 13 millones de empleos y tiene obviamente fuertes vinculaciones en México, y nos decía, pues hay preocupaciones con respecto a la reforma al Poder Judicial. Andrea, what will be, or how do you foresee the consequences from the point of view, obviously, of the National Association of Manufacturers if the judicial reform is approved in Mexico?
Yes, well, let me also just ground the conversation again in the volume of, you know, the extent of the relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
The volume of goods and services trade between the U.S. and Mexico has now reached a staggering 900 billion in 2023. And a third of that, about 34% of that, in terms of U.S. exports, is the export of industrial supplies and materials. So we have a huge amount of integrated trade at this point. I mentioned earlier that we have growing stock of direct investment from manufacturers in the United States into Mexico. And we're concerned that some of the reforms as proposed could harm Mexico's standing as an attractive place to do business, but also to expand those commercial relationships. At the rate of investment that I just described, it's not guaranteed. Manufacturers pay attention to how banks are factoring these potential changes to the Constitution into Mexico's risk profile. We're also very concerned if some of these changes violate the agreement, the USMCA or the TMEC, that could put renewal of this vital agreement at risk. And let me give you an example of one of those areas, which would be in the area of telecommunications. Mexico made seminal reforms in the telecommunications sector over a decade ago. And at the center of those reforms was the creation of an independent regulatory body to promote more competition and to expand access to broadband while reducing the cost to consumers and to businesses in Mexico trying to increase their productivity. And this was such an important commitment that it became enshrined in USMCA or TMEC provisions designed specifically in part to protect competition in Mexico's telecom sector by maintaining that independent regulator. And there are other aspects to the work of the regulatory body, like working to lower spectrum fees, where more work needs to be done to achieve a competitive market. So rolling back this progress by eliminating these bodies in their current form could result in a reversion to anti-competitive practices in these sectors, effectively squeezing U.S. companies out of the market. But productivity and dynamism in those sectors is central to Mexico's growth. So when you take some of these concerns together with potential changes to the judiciary, including the proposed changes to independent regulatory bodies, the prohibition of certain types of commercial activities, we worry that that will have an effect of slowing or even dissuading altogether new or increased capital investments, which would pose a risk to Mexico's current posture as a top destination for nearshoring.
Le pregunto a Andrea Dworkin cuáles son las consecuencias y me dice, déjame recordar o resaltar, digamos, el alcance del comercio entre las dos naciones, que en 2023 fue de $900 mil millones y una tercera parte de ello tiene que ver con materiales y obviamente supply, es decir, insumos, y que además pues la inversión extranjera directa en México está muy vinculado a ella. Dice que les preocupa cómo puede afectar el posicionamiento de México en lo atractivo que resulta, y además decir que no está garantizado y que muchos de lo que se comprende en las reformas pues es violatorio del TMEC. Por ejemplo, destaca mucho el tema de telecomunicaciones, que México hace 10 años hizo una reforma fundacional que, bueno, pues ha creado un cuerpo, se refiere ella al IFT, al Instituto Federal de Telecomunicaciones, que, bueno, pues ha sido fundamental, por ejemplo, en establecer el precio del espectro radioeléctrico y que garantiza la competencia y que no haya acciones anticompetitivas. Y bueno, pues en caso de desaparecer esto sería bastante grave, sobre todo porque afectaría a inversionistas, obviamente, de Estados Unidos. Eso no lo dice ella, pero recordar que pues ha habido inversiones de más de $10 mil millones de AT&T, que es el segundo mayor operador de telefonía y de telecomunicaciones en México, y dice, bueno, pues que esto, por supuesto, son unos de los factores que están preocupando con respecto a las reformas. Now, is there already an impact in terms of the flow of investment to Mexico in terms of this discussion? What do you pick up from the associated in terms of the deployment of investment and the rhythm that it have?
It's a great question. I don't think I can answer it very broadly, but just anecdotally, in speaking with member companies, they are always looking for expansion opportunities. Mexico is an attractive place to do that, given the integration of manufacturing across our countries. And they are watching these reforms very carefully, and they are factoring the potential outcome into their decisions. I can say that at least from conversations I've had recently with many of our member companies.
Le pregunto a Andrea que qué tanto ha empezado a afectar el flujo de inversión. Me dice, bueno, es una buena pregunta, pero todavía no hay necesariamente datos, pero dice de manera anecdótica, pues sí, los inversionistas están viendo el atractivo de México, están observando cuáles son los factores, hay apetito, pero pues ese es uno de los factores. Andrea, thank you very much for taking this interview. It's very useful. We are in the middle of this discussion here in Mexico, and we know the importance of the United States and particularly of the National Association of Manufacturers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rodrigo. If I may, I just want to say we at the NAM, we want to partner with the incoming administration to find ways to continue to strengthen our commercial ties, to strengthen North American manufacturing, to ensure that this region remains, as it is now, the most competitive in the world. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you this morning.
Thank you very much. Ahí escuchamos a Andrea Dworkin, vicepresidenta de Política Internacional de la National Association of Manufacturing. Me decía ella al final, déjame reiterar que queremos trabajar con la próxima administración para que esta siga siendo la región más competitiva a escala global y seguir trabajando juntos. Y bueno, pues sin duda importante el posicionamiento. Ya escuchamos ahí el énfasis, por ejemplo, en lo que tiene que ver con los órganos regulatorios, particularmente de telecomunicaciones y de energía. Así que bueno, pues una entrevista sin duda importante para el momento que vivimos, sobre todo para lo que significa Estados Unidos para México en términos, pues en muchos términos, ¿no? Como destino de exportación, como fuente de insumos y por supuesto como fuente de inversión extranjera directa para nuestro país.